For those of you who might be thinking about joining me, it's hard to imagine there's any of you at this point, but at the same time, it would make a lot of sense if there was. Be calm and know that moral precision is in my heart, and that I am the fair judge, the righteous judge. I give just decisions. The Jew, the white, the black, the Hispanic, the Asian, they shouldn't hesitate to come to me. The Semite, the Native American, no race should hesitate. The Islander, no race should hesitate to come to me for deliverance to God. No person, no matter how old or sick, should hesitate or should be afraid. If you feel the urge to obey, I command you to find me and obey. If you cannot contact me on the videos and they suppress my comments and so on in my videos, come to Morgan Hill, California. I do not come out at night. I only come out in the morning, and usually I come out twice a day. Okay? So there's that. I can't give you much more information than that without breaking the rules on YouTube. So there's that. Okay? I'm not that hard to find. Okay? A tall black guy in Morgan Hill usually have a hooded sweater on of some kind. And because my shirts are ripped and they fume my clothes, okay, I basically have the hooded sweater on most of the time. So white hooded sweater, blue hooded sweater. All right. So 58, true fasting. Shout it aloud, do not hold back, raise your voice like a trumpet, declare to my people the rebellion and to the descendants of Jacob their sins. For day after day they seek me out. They seem eager to know my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not forsaken the commands of God. It's interesting, you know. I don't understand exactly why other people have a lot less faith than I do. Okay? I don't think it's a matter of, hey, it's like, you know, if you want to be right with God, you give to the poor, you treat people fairly, you don't oppress anybody, you don't rape and kill, you don't exploit, you give up your ill-gotten gains, you try to redeem yourself with contrition, with a contrite heart. You repent, you feel sorry, and you turn to God with all your heart, and you love God, and you say, that's my priority. And that leads to me. Okay? Nothing I do or say contradicts this idea. You'll never find anyone on the internet like me. If you find anyone like me too, please tell me. Do they have a top martial arts argument, or do they shrink from the truth that God is a warrior? Okay, Exodus 15:3, Psalm 24:8, I believe it is, Isaiah 42:13, and on and on. Revelation 19. Okay, 1 Samuel 17. Okay, do they shrink from this and pretend that what they're doing is acceptable to the Lord, as if they are an individual from a culture that does what is right? You must transcend the cultures of this world. They are prisons. It's Babylon's system. Come out of Babylon's system. Yes, they're changing my voice and my image, and it almost sounds corny at times, okay, but I still say it. You must think deeply, reach into your heart and soul, okay, what are my motivations? The Lord weighs the heart. Call out to God and have insight and discernment and say, what am I trying to do here? Okay? And I'm trying to bring you to God. All right. So we're at 58. All right. So as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not forsaken the commands of God. They ask for just decisions and seem eager for God to come near them. Ask why God has not noticed their fasting and humbling. Okay? It is because it is false. They strike each other with fists after they're done fasting for just a day, and quarrel after they have done. Just one day of bowing your head like reed and lying in sackcloth, is this not the kind of fasting that I want? To loose the chains of injustice, to untie the cords of the yoke? Is it not to share your food with the hungry? 9 million people. 9 million people starve to death. Truly, I tell you, I'd rather starve to death with them than be with the richest people on earth, with a room full of attractive virgins. It is extremely heartbreaking, and they fuel me and poison me to keep me from feeling this emotion more than I do. To live in a world where they let 9 million people, 25,000 people a day, 9 million people a year, starve to death. That's this planet. This vampire planet that drunk off the blood of the saints, drunk off the newborns. 3 million children starve to death every year. And these people claim they have love in their hearts. They're just going to keep breeding and keep being selfish. Why are they breeding when 9 million people starve to death every year? More mouths to feed? You're breeding the greed. Seed, need, greed, breed, feed. To feed the hungry. There's also the bread from God. Truly, I tell you, I'd let the entire world starve to death if that was what is just. Not for eugenics, Western or Eastern supremacy, not for national supremacy, or globalism, for some sex cult, for Satanism. And if they were to die like Abraham and Isaac, it would be for God, not for greed. Truly, I tell you, I wish I could hold one of those children right now like a lamb, right? Like a lamb, to show you that I'm real. Some of you know. I imagine everyone who sees my videos know. They do things to throw off my mannerisms and my speech. I'm not making this up. They want me to resemble the preachers, the fraternities, the teachers. I am not them. They are not me. Do they have a top martial arts challenge? Are they the son of a brain surgeon who started off as a refugee and came here in the late 60s in the civil rights movement? Well, it was the Civil Rights Act of 1965 or something. Just a couple years later, my dad comes. A bunch of racist people had to bring federal soldiers to desegregate the South. There was race riots, in Detroit when my dad came here. To feed the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter. When you see the naked, to clothe them and to not turn away from your own blood. So to feed them with the bread from heaven first and foremost, to clothe them and help them achieve righteous acts in the divine order. To wear the garments of splendor, the garments of righteousness, and to share in the garments of vengeance. God said, vengeance is mine, and he said, my son, me, has the right to judge. There's no log or speck in my eye, even while I'm being under mind control. The just judgment is that people are damned to hell after I die because of generational cheating, ill-gotten gains, tech and breeding, covert drugging, sabotage, you name it. Every dirty trick, they went the distance to overkill that they're sealed in hell. The builders rejected a possible entryway to heaven for their own offspring. That kind of scum doesn't deserve to go to heaven. Neither does their offspring. Look up epigenetics and transhumanism. They make their offspring an unnatural abomination and they can go, no. They're epigenetically creating monsters that turn their backs on me, try to make me seem like some theater art bitch, because they don't want you to see the real me, because they're so fucked in the head. They think so crooked that they don't want you to see me in my royal African falcon form. Even if you did not believe that I am who I say I am, surely you know that there's no path to heaven because of what those people have done. Surely you know that. The tech breeding ill-gotten gains, generation complicity, breeding evil doesn't allow for a single righteous person. You need a redeemer sitting on the throne of David, so to speak, David, okay, to redeem you. You people are incapable of breeding that. What, Harry Potter argued he did, so you believe him? George Bush, Biden, Trump? Who do you think could? Some controlled martial artist, some preacher bootlicking to the New World Order? Who hasn't been killed by the pandemic or otherwise because they suck a government dick? They can't do it. Anyway, of course, even that. They want to make it seem like I sound like one of these American dogs that never knew God. Less than the Canaanite lady in the story. He said, I come for the bread of heaven for the dogs. Look, beneath her is the dog's dog, the American. These fools turn their back on God to his face They turned their back on God. Fools. Cowards. Selfish, narcissistic filth. Should I have to explain this? It should have never came to this. Their theater arts, cursed are all you on duty right now. You put on a theater art thong and interfere with the speech of God's Son, so he can sound like your bitch-ass cultures. Shame on you and your families. Slap your mother and your father in the face. They raised a bitch. Anyway. It's not to share your food with the hungry and deprive the poor, wanted with shelter. Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard.